Progressive Voices' Jon Sinton has written a continuing series called A Turning Point that touches on politics, culture, and media. You can hear the short essays in the on-demand section of progressivevoices.com and on the PV app.
For Progressive Voices, I'm Jon Sinton, and this is A Turning Point. Today, reality check. Now that the German general election is behind us and the far right advanced but did not win, here's a reality check to see if you found J.D. Vance's support for the far right party, the AfD, as distressing as I did. If not, I'd love to know what I'm missing. This happened a few days after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told Europe, "We're too busy over here to help you anymore." Hegseth really got out over his skis when he told Ukraine that they can't be in NATO because Russia would never accept it. It is exceedingly rare for the Defense Secretary to espouse foreign policy. Roger Wicker, the Republican from Mississippi, and the Senate Armed Services Committee chairman called Hegseth out for his, quote, rookie mistake. But when you think about it, it was no mistake. Of course he's on firm ground. I saw the hand up Hegseth's marionette's dress, but I couldn't see Trump's lips moving. He's just that good. Suddenly, America is confused over the easy question of good guys and bad guys. Let's review. The bad guys invaded a sovereign country, and the good guys defended that country. See? Not that hard. You learned the difference between good and bad and right and wrong in kindergarten, if not before. And like the good mob boss Trump aspires to be, he had Scott Bessent, his billionaire Secretary of the Treasury, inform Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky that we might continue to support their fight against tyranny, but only for half their mineral rights. Honestly, it's like a bad SNL sketch playing out in the real world. These characters in Trump's orbit, the billionaires and sycophants, not to mention the sycophantic billionaires, are like unintentional parodies of what they must think mob bosses sound like. Also, I'm wondering how to take Donald Trump accusing Ukraine of starting what is plainly and until now undisputed Russia's war of aggression. Do people buy this about-face on 80 years of decency? Will we just cozy up to Viktor Orban, the Hungarian dictator who pretends to run a democracy? And it might feel like one if you're a white Christian man, but if you're a racial or religious minority or a woman, it decidedly does not feel that way. Is Elon Musk's version of free speech, again, free for white Christian men only, and only those who agree with him, is that going to be the unwritten law of the land? As Bill Kristol posted, quote, "It's heartening that today the leaders of the two major parties in Germany are unequivocally anti-Nazi and anti-fascist. It's horrifying that today the president and vice president of the United States are not." Unquote. Oh, they're not the only ones. Donald Trump's right-hand man, Elon Musk, spoke to the AfD, calling them the best hope for Germany, and he has also expressed his support for the right wing in the Netherlands, Brazil, Ireland, Argentina, Italy, New Zealand, and of course his native South Africa. I don't think it's just me, but I need a reality check. I ask the same question historian Heather Cox Richardson asks, which is, are we really trading democracy for far-right authoritarianism? All of this, of course, represents Vladimir Putin's wettest of wet dreams, but that doesn't even cover it. It's as if his craziest wishes, so far-fetched that they dare not be spoken in public, have come true. He has finally succeeded in driving a wedge between Europe and America. How about that champion of the underdog, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, himself a first-generation American whose parents risked everything to start a life here instead of Cuba, rushing off to Saudi Arabia to meet with his Russian counterpart so they could start divvying up Ukraine, who was not present. Let's give Professor Richardson the last word. Quote, after the Munich conference, in writing from London, the British journalist Nick Cohn wrote that those Americans trying to find an excuse for the betrayal of Ukraine are deluding themselves. He wrote, quote, the radical right in the U.S. is not engaged in a grand geopolitical strategy. It is pursuing an ideological campaign against its true enemy, which is not China or Russia, but liberalism. The U.S. culture war has gone global. The Trump administration hates liberals at home and liberal democracies abroad, unquote. We are falling behind. Now we learn that Brazil has a better sense of democracy and the rule of law than we do. They've indicted their former president and 33 of his supporters for staging a coup after losing the last election. We spent a long time talking about a South American banana republic like Brazil, and now the shoe is on the other foot. Germany held, and we must too. Even though the Democrats are weak and propose half measures, we can't wait for the midterms. The forest is on fire now, and planting one tree won't help. For Progressive Voices, I'm Jon Sinton.
As the PV audience has grown, so have our bandwidth costs. We've tried to protect the limited commercial nature of the stream, so to keep up with the costs, we need your help. You might say we're victims of our own success. With nearly 1 million regular listeners now, the cost of operating the stream has grown beyond our wildest expectations. If you want to continue enjoying all the great shows on the free mobile Progressive Voices platform, please pitch in now. Go to progressivevoices.com and press the donate button.
PV brings you the best progressive audio and video in one free stream. Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Randy Rhodes, David Packman, Brad Friedman, and more. Search Progressive Voices on the TuneIn app, download the free Progressive Voices app, or go to progressivevoices.com.